Pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, economist, Govzilla author. Steve, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning, guys. By the way, did you say Scarlett Johansson? What's her name?
Scarlett Johansson. Yeah, you're so current.
Is she in your studio with? I'm so in love with her. Oh my God.
Oh, do you like her more than you like him? Yeah, I was about to say the same thing.
Don't tell me she's a liberal.
Yeah, right. Okay, I won't. I won't tell you. Anyway. Speaking on the banking issue, you had something.
Oh, by the way, can I just say one thing before you get into that?
Okay.
Sure. Did you see the article in the New York Times? You guys may have already talked about this about Wilmette and all the migrants that are now going to Wilmette.
Yeah, we made it to big time.
Wilmette went like 70% for Biden, so I think that's exactly where they should go.
I completely agree.
Yeah, and I'm getting all these indignant, texts from my liberal friends, who I went to New Trier with. Oh my God, how dare these, migrants come into our little town here in Wilmette and Winnetka? I'm like, well, wait a minute, you guys voted for Biden. He's made your sanctuary cities. I thought you wanted these people.
Yeah, well, Wilmette just doesn't have all the wraparound services that these poor migrants need. So it'd be much better if we just sent them down the metro to Chicago, where they'll be better taken care of. This is selflessness on behalf of the North Shoreans. Yeah.
And again, you guys probably talked about this already, but being from Chicago, I love to bring this up that. That state legislator who said, hey, maybe you all should home these illegal immigrants in your homes. I mean, you wanted them and they're here and you've got an extra bedroom, come on, do the Christian thing.
I agree. I've volunteered Byron Trott up on the North Shore and many other wealthy individuals on the North Shore. I haven't heard back yet, though.
Yeah, these are like, the rich liberals say, we want to pay more taxes, except we don't want to pay more taxes. We want other people to pay more taxes.
Mm-hmm.
We don't.
Mm-hmm.
And we just got a text message into our show. Dan and Amy, I listened to your show. I'm boarding a flight right now from Tucson to Chicago, and half of the plane are illegals being directed by NGOs.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right.
Your governor and your mayor, you wanted them. Here they are. How do you like it? I mean, I just think there's some delicious irony in all this.
Text that guy boarding the plane from Tucson to Chicago.
Take pictures.
Well, but also a spring for the Uber. Send them up to Wilmette when they arrive. All right, so let's get to banking too. So we were talking about the debanking. Yeah. Something else on this too. This was from your Unleash Prosperity newsletter.
Yeah.
That the commissioners of agriculture in 12 states sent a letter to big banks over their net zero pledges too. So now farmers are in danger of getting debanked by these companies if they don't go along with their climate nonsense. But anyway, address the letter that was sent.
Yeah, so this was, I think, 12 agriculture committee chairmen in states. I don't know if Illinois was one of them. Probably not. But saying, wait a minute, if we don't have energy, if we don't have oil, gas, and coal, we're not going to be able to have the energy we need to grow food. And so people are going to go without food if we don't have energy. Now that may surprise people that you need a lot of energy to produce our food that feeds our 350 million Americans. But this is a big deal. And this net zero, by the way, these people aren't screwing around. They are serious about going from 80% of our energy today comes from fossil fuels. They want to go from 80% to zero over the next 25 years, which would, if you wanted to destroy the country, that would be a really good way to do it. If you wanted to cause famine and malnutrition, that would be a pretty good way to do it. Now, are you following? There's a little footnote to this story. Are you, Dan or Amy, following what's going on in France right now?
Yeah, the farmer revolt. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the farmers are revolting. You can't. This is the thing. People take for granted our food supply because 95% of us don't work on a farm. But if you start diminishing the amount of energy we have, we're not going to have enough food. It's that simple, and that's what the Agriculture Committee, these commissioners were saying, and nobody in Washington or in Springfield seems to be listening.
You will eat the bugs, Klaus Schwab tells us. So, actually, it's more than that, too, in terms of people being serious. I know we don't take these people seriously. Oh, my gosh, I can't believe that person said this. And they are deathly serious, and I mean deathly. I go back to this from the recently concluded WEF in Davos. One of the participants, along with the entire Kerry family, was this woman who wants ecocide to be declared a crime. And she specifically mentioned, harming the environment to be a crime. And she specifically mentioned targeting farmers and ranchers. Now, criminally prosecute them for harming the environment, according to what, somebody like her or some governor like a Pritzker or a Newsom says is harming the environment.
Yeah, is that because they use fertilizer, and is that because they use pesticides and things like that to make sure that we have a clean and safe food? Was that why these are, are monsters? These people who are farmers. I mean, these people really are completely nuts. So, I mean, I am so shocked that people take this seriously. That somehow, if we just stop using any energy in this country, we're going to change. We're going to stop the rise of the oceans. I mean, I guarantee you, China and India and the rest of the world isn't going to do this. And by the way, Europe tried to do this, right? And you think our economy is bad? My God, Europe is in a complete recession right now because they're so tied to these green energy policies that don't work.
Well, Biden is trying to get in on the act. Now he's opened a new front in his war on American energy independence, and that's against
the LNG,
liquefied natural gas, right?
Yeah. So here's the thing. I mean, I'm so glad you brought this up because if you think about it, natural gas is a wonder fuel in every way. It is abundant. It's made in America. It's reliable. It's cheap, and it's clean burning. Natural gas is a clean burning fuel. Remember when you remember that famous incident when Nancy Pelosi says, I don't like fossil fuels, but I like natural gas. Fossil fuel. I mean, so why in the world are they against natural gas? The reason the United States has reduced our carbon emissions and cleaned our air more than any other country in the world over the last 10 years is we keep transitioning to natural gas, and now they want to shut that down. By the way, if you shut off our LNG, which is liquefied natural gas, which we're exporting to Europe, if we stop exporting that to Europe, guess where the Europeans are going to have to get their natural gas from?
Russia.
Yeah. Exactly. Gee, that sounds like a smart thing, Oh yeah, that's going to be really good for NATO and for the safety of the Europeans. I thought we were trying to get Russia out of Ukraine, and now we're going to give them all this money because they can sell their natural gas at 3 times the price to the French and the Italians and the Spanish and the Germans. I mean, none of this makes any sense from a national security, environmental, or economic standpoint, of course. But and by the way, Biden is doing this as a stop to his hard left green environmental movement. Those people are already with him. I mean, why does he need to keep throwing these guys a bone?
Well, was he doing this as payback, though, to Governor Abbott for securing the border? Pausing this? I mean, that's a thought.
You know what you are? You're a conspiratorialist, Amy.
Yeah. Crazy one, too.
I would never say such a thing. But look, I mean, who's going to suffer from this? We all are. We're going to pay higher prices for natural gas if they stop the production. And these are the same people who didn't want to build the pipelines. We are going to. I say this a lot, and I say this in all seriousness. Ladies and gentlemen, get a generator. Get a generator for your home because these people, as Dan was saying, they're serious as a heart attack. They are going to continually assault our energy supply. The lights are going to go out. The air conditioning is going to go out. The electric power is going. We're going to have brownouts and blackouts in this country. You heard it first on the Dan and Amy show. So you better be prepared for this because these people are nutso.
On the inflation or shrinkflation, as the big guy called it the other day on the trail in South Carolina, shrinkflation. And he mentioned, did you see the thing about the Snickers bars, which is his way of trying to communicate? It's like, what are you trying to say? It's his way of trying to communicate. There was a New York Times op-ed by an economist from UBS that talked about how people receive inflation based on the purchases they make. Biden couldn't explain this, so I'll explain it for him. Maybe you saw it, Steve. But essentially the argument goes, the inflation is coming down for some big ticket items, like, for example, a high-end TV, and this is from the op-ed. With $1,500, a consumer could buy a high-end 55-inch television. But because items in the consumer price basket are weighted by how much money consumers spend on the item in a year, television prices are more important than Snickers bars in the calculation of inflation. So the Snickers bar that goes from $1 to $1.25, you feel more immediately, and he concedes sort of an obvious point. Food prices still going up, consumer electronics, furniture coming down. And so inflation is not the top line is to say inflation is not as bad as you think, and it's coming under control, and it's not that bad. Of course, he doesn't offer the obvious observation that you can't consume a high-end television like the way you need to consume groceries. So that becomes a bit of a political problem for Biden. But the argument is people just don't understand. Inflation is coming down. Food prices are still a problem, but it's all going to work out. The market's up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, look, inflation has come down, but in fact, we have an item in our hotline today that shows if you look at the commodity index, it's rising again. I think we're actually starting to see a resumption of inflation. And the bottom line is that everything that you buy is 18.6% more expensive on average than it was when Biden came into office. Now, if your income has gone up by 18.6% over the last 3 years, raise your hand, because most of the people have not seen that. So it's very simple. Why are people so against Bidenomics? Because the average American is poorer today in terms of what you can buy with your paycheck than they were 3 years ago. And, Amy, that's the reason people are using their credit card more and more and not being able to pay the balance on the credit card. Because, I mean, you tell me all the time, you go to the grocery store and you get sticker shock. You go to the gas pump, you get sticker shock. Try buying an airline ticket, by the way. It's unbelievable how much things cost.
Yeah. And then people are using their credit cards at grocery stores, which I've never seen before.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I mean, you've got a situation now where I think, and this is, maybe I'm going to sound like a conspiratorialist. Here's what I think the grand plan is. The American people think that when Joe Biden, if he were to get reelected, that he's going to forgive people on their consumer credit card debt.
Oh, no chance. Wow.
To buy votes, maybe.
No way.
Well, how does that make any less sense than?
No, it's true. I mean, that's a fair point, I guess. But yeah, that's a fair. I mean, yeah, I shouldn't be so quick.
What? By the way, I think he's also going to forgive people for their mortgages that they can't pay.
Sure, why not?
Fantastic.
Yeah, if you're in for a penny, you're in for a pound, I suppose, right? By the way, some good news. UPS is cutting 12,000 jobs. And I say that sarcastically as good news, but isn't that what Jay Powell wants? You want people laid off so we can cool inflation.
Yeah, right, exactly. If nobody were working in this country, we wouldn't have any inflation at all.
Exactly. It'd be Xanadu. That's why we got to get people separated from their jobs. Then we're really going to be cooking with, and not with natural gas either, of course.
Yeah. Now,
Steve,
Dan, I know we're running out of time, but I want you and Amy to call all your friends on the North Shore and tell them, do the Christian thing, open up your home. I mean, a lot of these people, the kids have left home. They've got the bedrooms that are available, and the migrants are here. And if you voted for Joe Biden, you have a moral responsibility to let the migrants in.
You lost them at Christian, but yeah, we'll pass the word. Steve Moore, economist, GovZilla author. Thanks for joining us, Steve. Appreciate it.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. On AM 560. The Answer.
As a business owner, do you have a strategy for exiting your business? Most business owners don't. Studies done by the Exit Planning Institute show 75% of business owners who don't have an exit plan are dissatisfied with their exit, and 80%